Welcome to another episode of English Plus Podcast. I'm your host, Danny, and today we're going on an inward journey. We often rush through life, ticking off boxes on our never-ending to-do lists, and forget to check in with the one person who's with us every step of the way, ourselves. That's right. Today we're talking about the importance of self-awareness and introspection, and how these can not only lead to personal growth, but can also significantly improve your quality of life. Let's start with a question. Have you ever found yourself reacting to a situation in a way that later left you puzzled? Perhaps you snapped at a friend over a minor inconvenience or felt an inexplicable sadness watching a commercial. These reactions are signposts, directing us to look within and ask, why did I do that? That's self-awareness in action, observing and understanding our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. But why is this important? Because self-awareness is the bedrock of emotional intelligence. It allows us to navigate our social world with finesse. It helps us understand what we need and want, what drives us, and even why certain things push our buttons. Ever been around someone who is blissfully unaware of how their actions affect others? It's like watching a bull in a china shop. Amusing for a moment, perhaps, but ultimately catastrophic. Let's talk about how self-awareness plays out in our everyday lives. Imagine you're at work, and your boss criticizes a report you've spent weeks on. Without self-awareness, you might react defensively or with self-doubt. But with self-awareness, you can process the feedback constructively, recognizing where you excel and where you can improve. It's the difference between spiraling into a storm of negative emotions and taking control of your personal growth. Now, how does one become more self-aware? It's like building muscle. It takes regular exercise. Introspection is your gym, and reflection is your workout routine. Carve out time in your day, even if it is just 10 minutes, to sit with your thoughts. Ask yourself questions like, what am I feeling right now? Or why did I react that way? Write it down if that helps. This isn't navel-gazing or self-obsession. It's a strategic pause in a fast-paced world. One of my favorite examples of introspection comes from a friend of mine, a high school teacher. She started keeping a reflection journal. Every day, she'd write about what went well in class and what didn't. Over time, she noticed patterns. She'd often feel drained after classes where she didn't allow for student input. This insight led her to tweak her teaching style, making her classes more interactive. The result? Happier students, a more energized teacher, and an overall better learning environment. Now, introspection isn't always easy. It can be uncomfortable facing parts of ourselves we'd rather not. But think of it like cleaning out a closet. It's a mess at first, but once you sort through everything, you're left with a space that's functional and, frankly, much nicer to look at. Similarly, introspection can lead to a more harmonious inner life. Of course, self-awareness isn't just about improving oneself. It's also about understanding your impact on others. We're social creatures after all. Consider the last time you had a misunderstanding with someone. Could it have been avoided if one of you had been more self-aware? Chances are the answer is yes. Self-awareness also means recognizing when you're not the expert. It's knowing when to speak up and when to listen. It's understanding that sometimes your way of seeing the world isn't the only one. This openness to learning from others is a form of self-awareness that's particularly valuable in our diverse society. Now, let's lighten the mood with a little humor. Imagine if our pets had human-like self-awareness. Picture your cat pausing mid-chase to ponder. What is it about that red dot that compels me so? Or your dog contemplating, am I barking because I truly sense danger, or am I just bored? Sounds ridiculous, right? But that's the thing about us humans. We have the ability to question our actions and motives. Let's not waste it. As we wrap up, I want you to remember that self-awareness is a journey, not a destination. It's an ongoing process of tuning in to your inner world and using those insights to move through life more thoughtfully. So here's your action point. Start small. Today, take a moment to reflect on your day. What did you do well? What could you have done differently? How did you feel throughout the day and why? Use these reflections to guide your actions tomorrow. And remember, the more you practice introspection, the more natural it will become. So, now that we have talked about self-awareness, it's time to dig a little deeper into some of the keywords we have used in our main topic and some key takeaways too. That's coming next. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. So in our episode, we delved into the concept of self-awareness and its profound impact on personal growth and social navigation. Throughout the discussion, several key terms surfaced that are vital to fully grasp the essence of what we talked about. Firstly, self-awareness stands out as a cornerstone concept. In the context of our discussion, self-awareness refers to the conscious knowledge of one's character, feelings, motives, and desires. Simply put, it's being aware of what makes you, you. It's like being an observer of your own life, watching your emotional responses as if they were scenes in a movie and learning from them. And then there's another word, introspection. This is another term we emphasized, which in our context means examining one's own thoughts and emotions. For English learners, think of introspection as taking a deep dive into the sea of your own thoughts, exploring the hidden treasures of your inner world. We also highlighted emotional intelligence, a phrase that refers to the ability to understand and manage your own emotions as well as those of others. It's like being a skilled emotional chef, knowing just how to mix different feelings to create a harmonious meal for the soul. And then there's the term personal growth. We use that term to describe the process of improving oneself through such self-awareness and introspection. Imagine it as a personal upgrade, updating your internal software to become a better version of yourself. And then we use the word defensive. We use this word to describe a common reaction to criticism where one feels attacked and responds with protection or justification. It's the emotional armor you put on, sometimes without even realizing it, especially when you feel threatened. We also discussed the importance of constructive feedback, which is criticism given in a way that aims to help and improve rather than to belittle. In everyday English, this is like receiving a recipe for improvement rather than just a complaint about the meal. Another important phrase, reflection journal. That refers to a personal diary where one records thoughts and feelings to understand oneself better. Think of it as a personal blog, but written in a notebook and for your eyes only, charting the journey of your inner landscape. We also use social world, and that refers to our interactions and existence within society and among other people. It's the stage on which the drama of daily human life unfolds, and we are all actors in it. Of course, I'm not stealing from Shakespeare, but that's the gist. And then there's the phrase strategic pause. We introduced that to mean a deliberate stop in the hustle of life to reflect. It's like pressing the pause button on the remote of life. Not to stop the movie, but to make sure you're still enjoying it and following the plot. And lastly, diverse society. We mentioned that to acknowledge the wide range of different cultures, perspectives, and individuals we interact with. It's the vibrant mosaic of human society, each piece unique and essential to the whole picture. From these terms, we can extract several key takeaways. Understanding ourselves is not just about navel-gazing. It's a powerful tool for enhancing our interactions with others and navigating life's complexities. It involves regularly engaging in introspection to better understand our reactions and emotions. Embracing self-awareness can lead to personal growth, allowing us to handle criticism constructively and to interact with others more effectively. By acknowledging our emotional responses and the reasons behind them, we can make more informed decisions and lead a harmonious social life. In summary, embracing self-awareness and introspection can transform our lives, making us more emotionally intelligent and fostering personal growth. By understanding our defensive mechanisms and embracing constructive feedback, we can improve not only our personal lives, but also our social interactions. A reflection journal can be a practical tool in this journey, aiding in the cultivation of a mindful approach to the diverse society we live in. Taking a strategic pause amidst our busy lives can help us to reflect on our actions and experiences, ensuring that we live life not just by going through the motions, but by understanding and enjoying the story we are part of. And now that we have discussed the keywords and phrases from our topic, along with the key takeaways, it's time to talk about action. What actions can we take to translate what we learned about into a reality that can benefit our lives? That's coming next. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Welcome back to another enriching segment of the English Plus podcast. I'm Danny, and today let's seamlessly stitch together some actionable steps that we can all take to address the vital issue of cultivating self-awareness, which is the crux of our discussion. Imagine embarking on a journey, a sort of quest towards the treasure of self-awareness. The first step on this quest is to establish a routine of reflection, like setting aside time each day for quiet contemplation. This isn't just about thinking. It's about engaging with your thoughts actively, asking yourself questions about your emotions and decisions, akin to having a meaningful conversation with oneself. It's important to treat this time as an appointment with yourself, as non-negotiable as meeting a dear friend. And as we navigate through this journey, keeping a journal becomes our map. By writing down our thoughts and feelings, we can track our emotional patterns and triggers, leading to greater self-understanding. It's not about crafting perfect sentences, but about pouring your inner experiences onto the page where they can be seen and understood. Another stride in this quest is to practice mindfulness. This can be as simple as focusing on your breathing or fully immersing yourself in the sensations of a routine task. Mindfulness anchors us in the present moment, providing clarity and calmness amidst life's storms. It helps in quelling the noise of the outside world so that the voice inside us can be heard more clearly. Then there's the step of seeking feedback, engaging in honest conversations with people you trust. Others often hold up mirrors that can reflect aspects of ourselves we might not see. It's about listening, truly listening to what they have to say and considering their perspectives as additional data points in understanding yourself. And lastly, setting personal goals based on your insights from introspection acts as milestones on this journey. These goals guide your actions and decisions, ensuring that the path of self-awareness also leads to self-improvement. It's about aligning your daily habits with the person you aspire to be. In weaving these steps together, the journey towards self-awareness becomes an integrated part of our daily lives. Each step reinforces the other, creating a tapestry of habits that encourage deeper understanding and personal growth. It's a path that each of us can embark upon, a narrative of personal evolution that we all can write for ourselves. Remember, the quest for self-awareness is ongoing, and with each step, we become more attuned to the richness of our inner lives and better equipped to navigate the complexities of the world around us. So let's take these steps to heart, integrate them into our lives, and watch as the journey unfolds, revealing the strength and beauty within each of us. And now that we've talked about some action steps we can take, we are left with the final part of our episode for today, the part in which we talk about some of the frequently asked questions and misconceptions. We're doing that next, so don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. And now, my dear listeners, let's dive into a segment that I like to call Unraveling the Mysteries, where we tackled some of the questions that might be lingering in your minds and debunk a few myths about self-awareness. Many of you might be wondering, is self-awareness something that can be developed, or are some people just born with it? That's a common query, and it's crucial to understand that self-awareness is not a fixed trait. It's more like a muscle that can be strengthened with practice. It's true that some people may have a natural inclination toward introspective thinking, but anyone can cultivate self-awareness through consistent and deliberate effort. Another question that often surfaces is, can self-awareness actually lead to too much introspection? Well, there's a balance to be found. While introspection is indeed a valuable tool, it's important to not become so inward-focused that you lose sight of the world around you. There's a term for this: rumination. It's when introspection crosses over into overthinking and causes more harm than good. The key is to reflect with the purpose of gaining insights, not to get caught in an endless loop of over-analysis. Now let's address the myth that self-awareness is a solitary journey and doesn't involve others. Well, this couldn't be further from the truth. While self-awareness does involve looking inward, it also requires us to understand how we relate to others. Feedback from trusted friends, family, or mentors is invaluable in gaining a fuller picture of ourselves. And some of you might be thinking, isn't self-awareness just a form of navel-gazing and a waste of time? And here, just let me stop quickly and tell you about navel-gazing because I used it a couple of times and maybe some of you are not that sure about what it means. Well, if you refer to an activity as navel-gazing, you are critical of it because people are thinking about something for a long time but take no action on it. So that's the meaning of navel-gazing. So back to our question. Isn't self-awareness just a form of navel-gazing and a waste of time? Well, let's clear this up. Self-awareness is far from being a self-indulgent activity. It's a foundational skill that can improve decision-making, increase empathy, and lead to better leadership. It's about understanding your role in the broader context of your environment and how you can contribute to it positively. And for those pondering if self-awareness can make you change who you are fundamentally, here's the reality. Self-awareness doesn't change who you are at your core. Instead, it helps you understand your core better. You become more aligned with your values and principles, and this can only change you for the better. And there's also a common misconception that self-awareness is just about recognizing your flaws. Well, on the contrary, it's equally about acknowledging and leveraging your thoughts. It's as much about building upon what you do well as it is about improving where you fall short. And there's another question that's often whispered. Doesn't focusing on self-awareness make you more self-critical? Well, not necessarily. When approached healthily, self-awareness can actually reduce self-criticism as you start to understand the whys behind your actions and thoughts, leading to self-compassion rather than self-judgment. And some might ask, how will I know if I'm becoming more self-aware? Well, this is a journey without a clear destination. You know you're progressing when you start noticing patterns in your behavior, your emotional triggers become clearer, and your decision-making process becomes more thoughtful and aligned with your values. And for those curious souls who wonder, is there a peak to self-awareness, a point where you can't improve anymore? Well, I can tell you, the pursuit of self-awareness is a lifelong endeavor. There's always more to learn about ourselves, more depth to explore, and new experiences that shape us. And lastly, does self-awareness guarantee a happier life? Well, while self-awareness doesn't come with a happiness guarantee, it equips you with the tools to navigate life's complexities with more grace and resilience, which can lead to a more content and fulfilled existence. Remember, my dear listeners, the road to self-awareness is paved with questions, some answered and some evolving, but each one sheds a little more light on the intricate workings of our inner selves. So keep asking, keep exploring, and keep growing. All right, my fellow explorers on this journey of self-discovery, as we draw the curtain on today's episode, I want to leave you with a potent call to action. Take the insights and the wisdom you've gleaned from our time together and put them into practice. Start with one small step. Maybe it's a moment of reflection tonight, or perhaps it's jotting down your thoughts in a journal. Whatever it is, let it be intentional. Let it be yours. And while you're embarking on this personal quest, remember that you're not alone. Share the journey with those around you. If today's conversation sparked a light within you, pass it on. Share this episode with your family and friends. Let's create a community that thrives on understanding, both of the self and of each other. For those who have been riding along with English Plus Podcast, your support has been the wind beneath our wings. Keep following us on your favorite podcast platforms. Your engagement is what keeps this show alive and kicking. And if you want to take your support to the next level, I invite you to become a patron on Patreon. Not only does your patronage help sustain the work we do, but it also unlocks the treasure trove of premium content waiting for you. There, you'll find exclusive episodes that we've tailored for our most dedicated listeners, designed to enrich your journey with English and with life. So if you found a home here with us and our podcast has become a part of your routine, consider becoming a patron. Your contributions help us grow and continue to bring meaningful content to you and listeners worldwide. Thank you for tuning in, for your curiosity, and for your willingness to grow. This is Danny signing off from English Plus Podcast. Until next time, keep learning, keep sharing, and keep striving to be the best version of yourself. Goodbye for now, and remember, the journey continues, and it's always more rewarding with fellow travelers at your side.